Hello and welcome back to Corporate Round Trifold Brochure Template help file. This is Chapter 2, editing the file in Adobe Illustrator. My name is Maria and I'll be leading you throughout this tutorial. In the last chapter we have seen the folder structure of the downloaded template, and you probably noticed there is this folder called the dummy images. Basically what it is, it's all the images in the preferred file sizes and positions in order to that have been used for the template. All of them are CMYK files, so they're print ready, and there are two different ways on how to edit the images in the files, and I'll explain a little bit why it is important, why this folder is important, and why all the files in Adobe file types have been left as linked files, not embedded files. Okay, so let's open up Adobe Illustrator. First of all, we need to open the files. We go to File, Open, and once we find, excuse me, I'm just gonna delete this for a second. Once we find the file we wish to edit, and in this case we'll try to edit the blue one, we open it up. Now you will get this warning where it basically says that Illustrator could not find linked files because they have been replaced, and it's asking you what you want to do. This is where this folder comes into play. Of course, Illustrator cannot find these files because the naming is different on your hard drive than mine. So what you need to do, instead of changing each link, you need to first check this Apply to All button, and we'll go and replace them. All we have to do now is find this dummy images folder, and here it's asking us for insert 02. We'll select that one, click replace, and it will automatically replace all of the images throughout the template. That's why we check that Apply to All button. As you can see, we have the layer structure here in the layers. Now this is one of the basic tools we'll be using, and in case it is not open in your Illustrator file, we're going to go through checklists of what items you need, what panels you need to open in order to edit this file. Opening the Layers panel, we go to Window and Layers, or simply press F7. Next thing we need to open up is the Swatches panel, or the Color panel that we're going to be using in editing this template. And in order to do that, you go again to the window and find Swatches. Next thing we need to open up is the Gradient panel. Again, we go to Window and then we find Gradient. Okay. It's going to open up here. Next thing we need to open up is the Transparency palette. We go to Window, again find Transparency, open it up, and finally we'll open up Links and Characters panel. Characters panel that will enable us to edit the text. We go to Window, Type, and then Character, or simply go to keyboard shortcut Control-T. And finally, the Links panel, we need to go to Window and Links. And that's it. Now we have the entire Links panel open up. So first of all, let's start by turning off the marks and the info pages. Basically what this is a template that shows you where is all the technical information when it comes to printing this template. You need to know where is the actual cut of the final design, how far you need to extend the images in the bleed section, what is the extent of the text, where you can put it, and you get all sorts of information, the page sizes, how many folds, what is the bleed size, what is the folded size. This practical information you might want to send to your printer so they know what type of trifold brochure they're dealing with. This layer has been set not to print, so even if you leave it visible, it will not print in your final printout. But in order to get the easy access to actually change the template, we're just going to turn it off. We're going to leave the guides on, because if you wish to change certain things in the template, you might want to leave the guides so you know where and how far you can go. And once you're done, of course, you can just check it by turning off this layer and seeing whether or not everything works out. Okay, so when we have this basic stuff out of the way, when it comes to color editing, the thing you need to know is that I usually, and especially now, I am using something that is called global color. Basically what it is that all the color in the template that has been marked as global, and you'll know it's a global type color if it has this little white triangle on the side. What it allows you to do is that you don't need to go in and select each and every object you wish to change. All you have to do is select this color from swatches. You can turn on the preview, and let's change it to the regular cyan. So you can see, and you can see it as I'm typing in. You can see the changes, and once you do that, you press OK, and the entire color scheme has been changed. So this is probably the easiest way of changing the color scheme of the template. If you just want to edit this template to have your business colors or your preferred colors, this is the way to do it. Basically, you can do it in less than 3 seconds. Again, all you have to do, go to double click on the swatch of the color, make sure it's checked global, and then you can just change to your preferred color scheme. Okay, so that would be when it comes to editing the colors. Now, if you wish to change certain elements of the template, if you want to change their color, all you have to do is basically, click on them and then either use the color from the swatches, or you can make your own colors. Now, again, I strongly encourage you that you use that when creating the color swatches, you create the global color swatches, because it makes life a lot easier. So let's make this another cyan, or let's make this a magenta color so we can see the difference. I know it doesn't make any sense in this template, but bear with me. So all you have to do is basically just drag and drop it to your swatches symbol, and as you can see, it doesn't have this white triangle. So in order to create a global color, all you need to do is double click on it and just make sure to activate this. So now, once let's say we want to change this front page to be magenta, here it is. And the advantage of creating global colors is that now if you want to change this color to something more appropriate, let's say we want to make this color, again, it's easier to change it through one swatch than go through each and individual element itself. That's it when it comes to color editing. Now, in this particular template, we don't have any transparency, so we won't be using the transparency panel. But in case you wish to, let's say we want to make these transparent, we open up the transparency panel, select the items we wish to change, go to, for instance, multiply, and I don't know, I'm going to put it at 80%, something like this. So that's the way to use transparency throughout the transparency panel. Now let's talk a little bit about text editing. Text editing is, again, quite simple in the template. All you have to do is either double click on the text that you have selected, or you select the text tool, and then once you hover over the editable text, you can see it shows these lines here. All you then do again is select it and just type in your preferred text. Let me change the number to be 81825, for instance. Now once you have the text selected, you can change the font type. Let's say I want to make this serif. You can change whether what type of the font it is, the style, and you can change the size. You can change the distance between two fonts. You can change the distance between the letters itself. That's okay. Let's do this. And that would be it. You can also change when it comes to all the text. It is basically paragraph text, so you can change the alignment. You can change whether or not it's hyphenating, and so on and so forth. So again, very easy editing of the text, since it's being created as a paragraph text. You don't have to retype all of it. All you have to do is copy and paste the text you wish to insert in this template. And finally, let's talk about image editing. Now, again, we're going to go back to that dummy images folder because there are two different ways on editing the images in this template. The first one is you select, let me select insert 02. Okay, that will be this image here. And as you can see, you have editing clipping path and editing the contents button. You click on it, or you can just double click on the image and it will automatically open up. And as you can see, it gives you the link to the file, and it shows you the type of the image that it has been used. If this was embedded image, it would say so here. You have the option to embed the image, to edit the original, or to live trace it. Now what we're going to do in this case is go to relink this file, and this is the way we're going to relink it with our own image. So let me just find an image. Okay, let me find a nice business card here. I find the item I want and I just place it inside. Now once it has been placed, you can change the size. You can edit the placement options, how it transforms, whether it transforms to be within the bounds or not. But you can also manually transform it. You can move it around, etc. Double click on the outside of the clipping path, and here you have it. Now your image has been, that dummy image has been replaced with your own image. Okay, so here's where the dummy images come into play. You can open up the Photoshop file, for instance. We're just gonna use this image again. Before we edit it, let me just go a couple of steps back, okay, to get the original image in. And the reason why I prefer doing this when it comes to templates and linked images is because I get the size and the shape of the image and the proportions that I need in order to make good decisions about what kind and what types of images I'm going to place in. So what I'm going to do is go to File, Place, and again I'm just going to choose, for instance, this image in this case. And once it's placed, I size it, I change. Okay, so now as you can see, it perfectly fits within the container. All I have to do now is merge these two. So I'm going to go right click and I'm going to press merge down, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Control E. It will merge down to the background, and I will save this file. Okay, and once it has been saved, when I go back into the Illustrator, it will tell me that some files are missing or modified. So it asks me if I want to update them. I'll say yes, and here it goes. My image has been automatically updated, so you don't even have to bother going through Illustrator, double-clicking, changing the images, etc., etc. You just change all the images in your dummy images folder, and once you go back to the Illustrator, it will update them automatically. Okay, so that was it. Now the only thing that has been left is saving the file. I encourage you to save two types of file. First of all, save the file that you can still edit. So we can save it like edit file, edit it, yeah. And what we're going to do is make sure that we know that this type of file we can still change fonts, change images, change different types of design. When it comes to sending your file to print services, the one must thing to do is convert all the text into the outlines, because in that case there will be no accidental mistakes. Like for instance, if your printer services doesn't have the fonts that you have used, they can accidentally open the file, fonts can be changed, it can disrupt the flow of the design, and in order to avoid those kinds of mistakes and to make a life of your printer services a lot easier, the easiest way to convert all the fonts is go to select, you find object, and then you find text objects. It will automatically select all the text objects, and then you go to object, expand appearance, and then do it. Sometimes you have to do it twice. Now expand. It will ask you if you want to expand object or field. I'm going to expand both, and here you go. All the text has been converted into outlines, so there's not going to be any accidental mistakes during the printing. The next thing you need to do, because all of our images have been linked, you select the images, and we're going to select these two, for example, because we're on this page. We go here and then just embed them into the file, because if you send the file without embedding the images in, and you don't send the dummy folder, the folder where the links are placed in, basically the way it will open up is this. This is how it will open up on your printer services. So you want to avoid that. Make sure to embed all the image files. And once we have done this and we have went through all the checks, we can delete this marks and info layer, because that's the one they will not be needing. And we go to save as, and we're gonna make sure to name this, let's name it print. Okay, now final thing you need to do before you save the file, before you start doing this, call your printer services and ask them in which version of the Illustrator they want you to send the file. If they have the newer version of Illustrator than you do, saving the file is not a problem. But for instance, if your printer services is still working in, let's say, Illustrator CS, if you send it as CS5, they will not be able to open it up. So make sure to know in which file version they want you to send the file. Let's say it's CS. Make sure it's a PDF compatible file. Since we don't have linked files, we have embedded them. We don't need to check this, but in case I have missed any of the images, I checked this for just in case. We're going to use compression, and then finally just go to OK, save it, and that will be it. Now we have the printed version saved. So this is this is it when it comes to editing the files in Adobe Illustrator. In the next chapter, we'll be talking about editing this template in Corel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next chapter. Bye.